So it looks different now because we are on Zoom. So if you are watching on YouTube, my internet failed me. But Hallie has tried to tell me about Detour. This will be her third time, maybe fourth. So go
We're
for
gonna
it.
do it. It's gonna happen. Okay. Detour is a film that came out in 1945-ish, I think, adjacent to that, starring Tom Neal. And it's a very classic noir, short. I think it's like 68 minutes, uh, told 95% of the way through flashback. So, and in voiceover flashback. So you get this kind of bookend of this guy at the beginning, and he's at a diner, and you can tell something's gone wrong, but you don't totally know what. And then he does a flashback, and basically he's kind of going through this story of his life recently. He was a piano player. He's in love with this girl. She decides not to marry him. She's going to move to Los Angeles, make her big break. He's like, I'm going to join her. And he hitches a ride with somebody across country. And midway through the ride, this guy kind of just dies
Whoa.
of like, they don't tell you what. It's after you find out he's very
Okay.
wealthy. They're riding along together. He's like driving our main character, and he looks over and the guy is not responsive, and he pulls over to the side of the road and he opens the door and the guy falls out and he's like, "Oh, he fell out and he hit his head and he died." And so from there, the story takes a couple of twists and turns. I won't fully ruin it for you, but the coolest piece of the story is that you become aware as you're watching it that you're so deeply inside this man's subjective POV, because he's doing this first person voiceover and he's really telling you what's happening. But he and the movie are an unreliable narrator, and that things cannot possibly have happened the way that you have seen them on screen because it just doesn't make sense that they would have happened that way.
Oh my
Like,
God.
for example, this opening thing, I'm watching it and he's like, he just died. Nobody would believe me. Da 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 da. And you're like, well, but how did he die? And so you become aware as you're watching it that like he's telling you a version of this thing, but
Huh?
it couldn't possibly be what happened. But it's very interesting because it's like it's the camera lying to you too. And it's
Mm.
just it's very well done. And so I highly recommend if you get a
Wow.
chance to watch it. It's a short, brutal ride, and it's like a very cool POV thing they're doing within this like
That's
crazy little
awesome.
story. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. And it kind of reminds me of the fun of Strange Darling.
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, that one doesn't have voiceover, but the structure
Right. The
is
structure is like
deceiving.
totally, totally.
You know, I
And
love a deceiving structure to figure out.
I know you got to watch it. And it's like what's very subtle about it is that like so we had this whole discussion about it afterwards, and the person who was giving this discussion about it basically said this thing, which this is gonna sound, I'm tooting my own horn, but like I had started to realize that watching it, like,
hmm
oh, this couldn't possibly be like how, and then I'm also just being like such a man, just being like, I couldn't help it. These people just keep dying. Um, but what's interesting is the movie doesn't explicitly say that. Like you don't get to the end and there's a reveal where somebody says like you've been lying to us. They kind of leave it. So like we're having this
Mm.
discussion about it and the person who's talking about it and the impact of the film is saying, you're in this subjective experience and you're realizing it couldn't possibly have happened that way. There were multiple men in the theater that I was watching it with who were just like, this poor guy just can't get a break. And I was like, that's not the movie at all. Like you guys missed
No.
it.
Oh,
It's very interesting.
oh my gosh. Media literacy is a whole thing.
A whole
A
thing.
whole thing
So
lately.
highly recommend. And then the crazy story associated with it. So Tom Neal was this kind of infamous, infamous Hollywood actor. He'd been involved in some big like love triangles back in the day, which like happy to geek out about, but I'll do the Cliff Notes version. So he's married multiple times, eventually has kind of like flamed out of Hollywood, is never quite as big a star as he wanted to be. And he goes and lives in Palm Springs and he marries a much younger woman who, wouldn't you know, they have a very tumultuous, turbulent relationship to the point where she even tells friends, if something happens to me, he killed me. So she tries to leave him. He comes back into town. They kind of reunite for a little bit. They're having this kind of bender weekend, and she turns up dead. And he says that she pulled out a gun and they struggled for the gun and it just went off. But forensically, that could not have happened either. Like she was shot, she was like lying on a couch, shot like through the top of her head. Like that's not a
Yeah,
struggled for
that
a
doesn't
gun
make sense.
situation. So he gets indicted for it, goes to a trial. He does a bunch of crazy PR stuff, including having this like huge um, photo shoot at her grave. Uh, Only it's not actually her grave. He just picked the most photogenic grave. And so there's this whole photo shoot spread of him at this grave being like, my poor dead wife, I loved her so, but it's not even her grave. Like it's so crazy.
Oh my
And he
gosh.
getting off. He doesn't go to jail for it.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Bruce is really mad about it too. For everyone who was like, Kate really isn't reacting that much. No, I was just being barked at that entire
Oh
time.
no, I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I was still like
I could
invested.
I could tell you're doing a really good job of striking between like I'm listening and also you're like rage holding a dog down, just
He
like, come
was
on, buddy.
barking so loud and forcefully that like his breath was hitting me.
Oh my
That was
God.
the kind of bark. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
He's very mad about the internet foibles.
he is really mad about the way that that all came together, but
Yeah.
it does make it a really interesting story, doesn't it? It makes
Yeah,
Jovi
kind of
very
meta.
interesting.
Yeah.
Damn.
I know. I know.
I need to watch this movie. You're gonna convince me. You convinced me to watch Black and White movie. I don't know that I can't think of a time that I did.
I'm telling you, 68 minutes, you're
Maybe
in, you're out. It's not the greatest movie that's ever happened, but it is
yeah.
enjoyable.
I know, and it's kind of cool seeing like the origin stories of like a genre.
Totally, totally. And like it very much is, I feel like the unreliable narrator is something we see a lot in fiction, and you even see
Hmm.
it in movies too, but you generally, I would say in a movie, we take a camera to be a reliable narrator, right? Like you might have a
Yeah.
character who's lying to you, but like in order for the audience to play along, the camera is showing you what's happening to some degree. Uh,
Hmm.
but this one is just like, screw that.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I love narratives that flip. I haven't
Totally.
I haven't watched one in a while. So that'll be I haven't watched like a mind bendy thing, but I also haven't been watching much TV either.
Fair
So
enough.
there's that. Did
Uh,
you see him in theaters? It's literally just called him, Him.
no, I didn't. Remind me
Okay.
what that one's about. Why do I feel
It
like I could
is
put a
like, did you
post.
ever read Chain Gang All Stars?
No, I did
Okay.
not.
Well, it is horror through the metaphor of football.
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
And then like uh how populations of people have had to use their bodies as a way to get out of difficult situations, and then what that means when like you have all of that pressure to be like go
Totally.
be great. It's really good. I couldn't remember if we talked about it previously or not, but I don't think we did.
No, I need to check that out. That sounds great. I do remember reading a few reviews of it at the time, and it sounded really interesting. Like, is
Yeah.
it Damon Wayans or Marlon Wayans or yes,
Yes,
yeah,
Marlon.
yes,
Marlon, yeah.
plays
And
the
Tyreek Withers, who Gare and I are collectively obsessed with right now. Like, whew,
amazing.
even if it just went for that, we did see it in theaters, which it's just amazing. The imagery is so cool. And I haven't talked with anyone long form about it, so it
I
popped
I
into
need
my
to
head.
watch it, and then we can
Yeah.
retouch base. Yeah.
Um, but that's kind of a good segue into horror, technically.
Yes,
Which was
absolutely.
one of the other things we were going to, I can't help myself anymore, but um, it's all I talk about.
I love it.
But I read this book called Scream with Me by Eleanor Johnson. I always forget like the subtitle, so I had to look it up. But the like subtitle is Horror Films and the Rise of American Feminism, 1968 to 1980. Very specific. But she basically talks about, I can't remember if it's four or five films, Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, The Shining, and there are more. So it doesn't have the number in the synopsis because
Sure.
Alien was one of them. These are
Classic.
like movies that I had not thought about in depth in a while.
Hmm.
And I probably should go and rewatch them now because a lot of them, like, I watched before I was obsessed with story. So, like, I'm sure it'd be a
Totally.
different experience now. Um, but she wrote, of course, I'm just like losing my voice as I go into this, but she wrote a whole nonfiction book about how these horror films, whether they intended to even or not, were reflecting how we were talking about women's bodies and rights and like
Well,
all of that.
that's
And
what I was
it's
thinking when
so
you were saying
good.
that time period. I'm thinking the passage of Roe, and I'm thinking, like
Mhm.
even 1968. I'm curious. I mean, Rosemary's Baby. You can't get away from also Polanski, whose wife is murdered in
I
69,
know.
and like there's so much
And she
interest.
talks about then the weirdness that she talks about what you're saying.
Yeah,
There's like a whole chapter. I think it's like right in the middle, and I listened to it, and the narrator was even like kind of funny about it because there's something that's almost like imagine like record scratch, like,
totally.
okay, so now I'm gonna talk about
The
like some of
Polanski
the
of it
men who
all.
are telling these
Yeah,
stories.
exactly.
But then like I didn't realize that I didn't realize that Stepford Wives and Rosemary's Baby were by the same author too.
Yeah,
Ira Levin.
yes, Ira Levin, who wrote a bunch of different things that were
So
turned
then
into.
there's this like other fascinating part that there was like a Jewish man who was actually writing these stories. So even these like kind of questionable directors picked it
Totally.
up. Then there's like this really feminist man writing it as books first. So it's like really fascinating. She definitely goes into Stepford Wives, and Rosemary's Baby. But it was like I have so many things I need to rewatch now.
Yeah, totally.
But what I got really obsessed with, this was literally, I think it's the intro. Like it's not, we're like not even in chapter one. But she basically exactly what you're saying. It like opens up when she said like she basically says when the US Supreme Court leaked its intention to reverse Roe versus Wade, she started crying basically in class. She's a professor. And she saw it like when she was teaching class at the time. Um and that but then like this is like within the first couple paragraphs it says and then I did what I always do when I get alarmed about a social or political situation. I turned to art. This time I
Mm.
turned specifically to horror. And then I love this part too. It says now this turn to art may seem avoidant or apolitical. For me, it's anything but. I have long believed and long argued, both in my teaching and my writing, that art is where the most complex social problems and traumas get worked through and processed, sometimes long before a culture is fully prepared to grapple with those problems and traumas in mainstream public discourse. And I was like, well, I'm going to love this
Absolutely.
book.
You're like, yes.
I'm like, you found the right audience.
Yes.
Um, and I like the way that I hadn't even thought of like the problematic directors behind these because like at first she's just kind of like going through the stories and like teasing
Yeah,
out and pointing all of these like social things out throughout the stories, but then it's like they it's but like technically those men are part of why those stories reached the masses, and that's such a tricky
totally.
situation too.
It really is. It like they're telling these stories that are like getting a point across a viewpoint that I think is important in the moment,
Hmm.
but also with them comes all the baggage. I mean, Polanski is somebody I could talk about for forever because I have such a complicated feel like I
Yes.
really love a lot of his work, and he himself has like the most fucked up life story of all time.
Yeah.
Like survives the Holocaust and his family doesn't. His wife is murdered. His wife and baby are murdered in this like seminal tragedy. And then he also did drug and rape like a 13-year-old girl. Like there,
Yeah.
there's like no getting away from like all the pieces of it.
Yeah.
And Yeah, it's so complicated and interesting.
I know. And like even she kind of, I don't think she's very directly at any point like says this, but kind of touches on the fact that like even if those men were kind of attracted to the stories because there was like a abuse to women in those stories, uh it doesn't detract from the fact that other people interpreting the art
Yeah.
and seeing like the horror differently maybe.
That's such a good point. That's such a good point. And it actually makes me think of a thing I thought of at NoirCon. Sorry, I'm going to just bring this
Oh
in really
no,
quick.
that's
It's like
awesome.
I was listening to this panel of male writers, all male writers. And I was like, NoirCon, like noir, people who love noir tend to be like jaded hippies. And so like often I
Oh,
find myself very like politically aligned with them. And
yes.
also like the older white man of it all. And like there was last year when I went, a man walked by me and just kissed my shoulder and like kept on going. Like it's just some stuff where I'm like, oh yeah, that's in here too. And so I was sitting on this panel listening to these three men talk, and they were talking about using real life crimes as inspiration. And one of the men could not stop talking about different sexual assaults that like he was writing about, like, oh, because my friend was sexually assaulted, or like I know this thing happened in Hollywood, all these different things. And he just kept using it for all the women in his stories. And I just had this feeling, and I don't usually feel this way. Like I feel like there are some things writers shouldn't do, but I don't really believe in being like saying like writers can't write it outside their own experience.
Right.
I think you're if you do it, you're fair game to get called out if you do it wrong. You know what
Right.
I mean? But
Yeah,
like
like
I don't
sensitivity
and
readers exist
yeah,
for a
and I don't
reason.
tend to be, but I don't tend to be somebody who's like you should never write about an experience that you haven't had. But I was
Right.
like, you know what? I'm not interested in men writing about sexual assault to women anymore. Like,
Yeah.
I just am not, you know, like if you want to write about that, why not write about a man getting sexually assaulted? Like that happens
True.
too. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's the question there, the thing that you said that made me think about that is this sort of like how much of this is titillation and
Mm-hmm.
how much of this is sort of like this is the only way I can like comprehend a woman's experience is that she's been
Yeah.
victimized in a certain way. And so
Mm-hmm.
I think with like all of the movies that you're talking about, it's this interesting thing where it's like there are very
Yes.
feminist parts of it, but then there's parts of it too where you're like, is Polanski drawn to talking about this because it's like vaguely titillating to him? Or like,
Yeah.
is Stepford Wives, that's the only way we can conceive of women? Like, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's uncomfortable.
I know. And like so impactful.
Yeah.
Even like you see, well, kind of like what you were talking about with Detour when I was saying it's kind of cool to see the beginnings of genres or like
Mhm.
things that contribute to it. I hadn't thought of how much these movies are like stories that are even being kind of retold now in different
Totally.
ways, which is
Totally.
always the case in
Yeah.
genres, technically. Before I forget, I keep forgetting. So noir and the narrator,
Uh-huh.
uh, that episode, I feel like we even probably talked about it when we talked about the studio, but
Hmm.
they have that hilarious episode that is like a noir episode that has
Yeah.
like the like really intense or the constant narration basically.
Totally.
But then what that was reminding me of is have you seen the Martin Scorsese
Oh,
doc?
the doc?
Yes.
I
Man,
haven't,
why
but
did
I've heard it's
documentaries
great.
just leave my mind? Okay. It's amazing too. But he is someone who also that you kind of notice it as they're going through his career. He has used narration kind of the entire time.
Mhm.
And so then I was like, this is making me appreciate the studio episode even more
Yeah.
because they were like showing these clips that were so much like it. And then he was in the show. So, in an odd, very Matrixy way, Apple produced a documentary that will make you want to rewatch episodes of the studio.
Amazing.
I know, but it's
I so
really good.
I did see that episode of the studio. It is great where it's got the like femme
Yeah.
fatale and he's like looking for the MacGuffin and like all the
Yes.
tropes of like a noir. And then I will never not find it hilarious that pilot episode of the studio where he's like, we have to make a Kool-Aid movie. And then
Hmm.
he's like, I want to do my Jim Jones thing. And you just see the
Yes.
light bulb go in his head of like, well, that's the Kool-Aid movie, you know, and you're just,
Yes.
oh no.
Yes. And like literally seeing this documentary was making it like even I had a greater appreciation for so many of the things that they were referencing with Martin for
Yeah,
like so long
totally.
throughout it. It was like it was crazy. And then
I need to,
like
I
the
need to
way
watch.
that of course that's like what the direction he would want to go with like
Totally.
Kool-Aid.
Which also, like, I came out of that also being like, but now I do want a Martin Scorsese, Jim Jones project.
Like
Like,
he
will
would
you
do
make
it
that?
well.
Like, yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, he really would. But yeah, so I anyone who likes documentaries in general, it's a really good documentary. But then if
Okay.
you're also interested in film and actually like what stood out to me so much seeing his career back to back was how much he really was like observing toxic masculinity from
Mhm.
like a really
Yeah,
long time. Like
totally.
before we were had the I don't think that word was in the zeitgeist when he
Yeah.
started in the 70s. I don't think.
Like Taxi Driver and all of his like really
Yes.
early stuff that
I know
really
in
did
Taxi
like,
Driver, I it was relearning about like the plot and everything. I was like, this is the Joker. Like the it was so much what like the
yeah.
Joaquin Phoenix Joker was. So
Well,
so
he takes
fascinating seeing the
I think he's
vibes.
I think the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, if I understand correctly, directly is referencing the Scorsese film King of Comedy. That there's
Oh,
like
yes.
real
Then
like
there's that
bridges
one.
that they're yes making about that.
You're right. Yeah, I kept because it's like a 6-part documentary and I think that's what it was. Later I was like, this one is like the Joker too.
Totally. And I think that that's like a who's that? I forget who the director of Joker is, but I think he was like sort of homaging.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well then checks out. It checks out. But yeah, good for him. Like there weren't too
Yeah.
many men actually like I think what I was noticing through a lot of his movies is like he's not flinching away from like no bad people like do really bad shit. Like it doesn't seem like it was gratuitous. It did feel like he was trying to understand that basically.
And not like valorizing them. Although I do
Mm-mm.
feel like there have been responses to his films that do like glorify
Yes.
violence, but like I think he is pretty clearly critiquing it
Yes.
in the movies.
Yeah, they do cover that. Like there are like
Yeah.
there's been people like staged scenes. Yeah, it's wild.
Yikes. I gotta watch this.
It's really really good. Um but yeah, I had also just read this book recently and it is interesting some of the how horror and noir have
Hmm.
some similar stuff, which is probably why that's like crossing over for me.
Totally.
But the other part that I thought was so cool that she talks about oh, I'm gonna find it. Here we go. So she talks about like tragedy and horror as well. And so like how Aristotle defined tragedy by saying that it makes viewers feel fear and pity so that they can experience a catharsis at the end.
Hmm.
And she breaks down that the Greek words for fear and pity are phobos, cognate with phobia, and eleos, which means compassion, mercy, and clemency.
Hmm.
So it's not just straight pity with like the condescending
Right.
freighting of that term in modern English, which made me laugh. No one wants to be pity, but everyone wants to experience compassion, mercy, and clemency.
Hmm.
So then she has this, I have this bolded because I loved it so much, but she says that Elios is a social and interpersonal good because it teaches people to feel empathic about and merciful toward one's fellow citizens. Tragedy makes you a better person. Tragedy is pro-social. And I was like, wow.
Wow.
And so then she talks about like the way that you feel it so strongly, like the genre itself
Mhm.
tends to be putting you into the mind of someone up against something
Yeah.
terrible. And so like kind of by its nature, it almost is you can force, I say that lovingly, empathy because people are like, "Oh my God, that would be terrible."
Totally.
And with like different themes and different stories, you're actually helping people be like, "Oh wow."
Isn't that what's so interesting? I mean, I totally
Mhm.
agree, and that is like blowing my mind too, but isn't it so
Yeah,
interesting that like the way that we can like get into that empathetic state is almost through like something terrible happening? Like
I
you
know.
couldn't really have a movie where you're like, and all these good things happened to this person, they deserved it, and people would have the same emotional experience. You'd be kind of like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like it's
Yes.
interesting. The vehicle for like expanding empathy kind of needs to be horror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then she basically breaks down how that time period for about 12 years, the amount of domestic horror that was coming out is what she labels all of these films.
Hmm.
And we just, again, another situation where you didn't have the word for it, but it was starting to
Totally.
happen
Mhm.
where a lot of these films, even Alien, the way that she broke it, like, yes, it's like impregnating people. So,
Sure.
like, the metaphor is right there, but like, also the way, like, it made me like, how have I not noticed all of this? Which is
Totally.
something I love to do to myself. And I'm like, because you're just like learning it right now. But
And
go
and so
ahead.
interesting of like a socio-political time in which like
Yeah.
the home space was starting to become like horrifying to women and or like
Hmm.
women are in the workforce more and like like
Yeah.
it's like very much meeting the moment too.
Yeah. It's fascinating. So I have so many notes from this one, but I just feel like especially right now,
Yeah.
everyone needs some more empathy.
Hmm.
And so that's where I'm probably obsessed with horror at the moment too, where I'm
I
like
love it.
literally helps us understand what other people are going through, which also we're recording this after Prop 50 got passed. And there were a lot of Democrats that won a lot of stuff.
I
But
know.
also when I knew that you were coming on, I was like, oh my gosh, it's my California girl.
I know, right? It is a happy day. I feel like
Yes.
without leading in, I mean, I'll lean into politics all the time, and I don't think
No,
it's
we
that, but like,
have.
I mean, thrilled to see Virginia and New Jersey, thrilled
Yes.
about New York. I screamed in my like,
Detroit.
yes, Detroit. I mean, and then yeah, California passes Prop 50, which
I was like, all of it. We got all of it.
it feels like a pretty clear referendum that people are not happy with the
Thank
administration.
God. And it was, I mean, it's a complicated thing for me to be saying at this time,
Fair
uh,
enough.
but oh, what was I going to say about that? Oh, I have been saying that I hoped that it was that a lot of people were ignorant and not that everyone was cruel.
Yeah.
And that's been like the big turning point for me where I was like, "Whew, okay."
And I,
Like
I think
I
I
think people once they saw what was actually
yeah.
happening, like they were actually upset and that's relieving for me.
And I think that I still think like, not to turn Bookwild into politics wild, but like, I still worry that I don't know that the Democrats in general have
Same.
like a great, like, who's the person we're rallying around? Is it Newsom? Like, you know what I mean? Because whereas I
I
think that
know.
the New York City mayor election, if it shows us anything, it shows us that like when there is a candidate that people are excited about, they turn out.
Yes.
I think that
And
we need,
kindness actually
yeah,
works.
yeah. And so I think that but I was so
I'm with
excited.
you though. I
Literally
loved one of the
yesterday.
tweets that was like, I just want to say I have zero faith in the two-party system.
Yeah. Oh,
But at least this happened. That's pretty much how I feel about it. Like I agree.
same.
I don't think the Democrats are our saviors either.
No.
So run though.
No, but it is encouraging to be like everywhere leaned more blue. Like, you know what I
The
mean? Like
fact that, yeah, that's what made
yeah,
me feel so relieved because I was just like, oh my God, how
I
many
know.
people are scary out there that I didn't know about? And now it feels
And
like they're at least less.
yeah, yeah, totally.
Could could we all see this coming? Yes. But I'm glad that I'm glad that it took less than a year for people to be like, oh no, this isn't good
Totally,
instead
totally.
of four
And
years.
hope
So
we ride that wave through the midterms
I know.
and to beyond. And Dick
Also,
Cheney died.
just
How
because
about
it's relevant and where we're at here, um, The Great Gatsby is about the perils of wealth. Just for my bookish people who already know that. Um, but my friend Mackenzie posted about it too, but I thought it was a perfect time to shout out. There's a book called The Great Man by, sometimes I get her two last names flipped, by Kyra Davis Yuri.
Okay.
Um, that is a retelling of it with the main characters, I think his name is Charlie, is a black man who comes back from serving in World War II. Yes,
Yeah.
be the time period. All of a sudden, I doubted myself.
Oh,
But
for Great Gatsby, I think it might be World War One, right? Because they're Roaring Twenties.
yes, you're right. It's the 20s. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a really great retelling, basically, that almost, in my opinion, actually speaks to the themes even better because it's
Mm,
told from such a different perspective.
totally. Okay, I gotta read that.
It's fantastic. And it's insane that there was a Great Gatsby party the night before SNAP benefits stopped. So
Yeah, feels
that was
intentional.
not the point.
Feels like feels very
Media
like,
literacy.
hey, you know? Yeah.
Little, none of them have read the book. That's the better Great Gatsby recommendation, in my opinion.
Fair enough. I mean, I struggle. The Great Gatsby is one of those ones. Like speaking of the Scorsese, right? Like I think Fitzgerald is critiquing, like we all agree that, right? Like he's
Yeah.
critiquing this ostentatious wealth. He's critiquing like the American striver system, like it big, and
And the
yet,
American dream. Like
and the
it
American dream,
really
right, as
is.
accessible,
Hmm.
and yet people throw Great Gatsby parties, let alone a fucking government that's shut down, that's like depriving people of their food and the things they
Yes.
survive. Like, I mean, that is like a height of insane casual cruelty and just as crazy to
That's
me.
what it is to me. Cruelty is what I like keep saying about it. Like,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? And the fact that, yeah, that judges are ordering it to happen and it's not happening. And I'm like, oh my God.
I know we're really running up against like what happens if they keep ruling against him and he just doesn't listen?
Which was, yeah,
Yeah.
when I first saw the news, I was basically telling Tyler, I was like, that the judge ordered. I was like, judges have ordered things in the last
Yeah.
couple of months that he hasn't cared about. Like the checks and balances are not checking and balancing at all
No. No.
anymore.
Yeah.
But the voters, the voters came out, and there's a
Voters came
little
out.
hope. There's some
Yes.
hope. So yeah,
Yes. Yes.
we'll see how much of that. I mean, I will keep in a decent amount of it, but obviously I got sidetracked by barking and Lane's mom.
Fair enough.
I'm just seeing, I do have so many. I have like 4 pages.
Oh
But
yeah, tell more. Hit
I
me with
think I
more.
got, where is, oh, I do. Okay. This is what I like to, where does it start? Okay. So then she also talks about, it says there's a crucial difference between tragedy and horror. So she
Mm,
kind of like bounces off of the Aristotle talking about tragedy. And so she says tragedies actually tend to end neatly. Sure, everyone dies, and there's often quite a lot of blood on the floor at the end, but there's usually an accompanying sense that the violence is done now, the social order will be restored, maybe even improved upon because of the tragic events. Tragedy is defined by its creation of catharsis, purification, cleansing, or purging in the audience. We have our catharsis and we move on, order is restored. We can release a hard earned sigh of relief at the end of the play. But in horror, by sharp contrast, we do not get catharsis. Instead, we get what I call a horror hangover. This is so fascinating to me. Um, she says things end messy and chaotic with a sense that the horror hasn't ended and that maybe
mm,
it never will. When
mhm,
we leave the theater after seeing a horror film, we feel nervous as we walk up the steps to our house. We wonder if someone's lurking in our apartment. The unease lingers. Horror stays with you, keeps you hyper vigilant against threats, keeps you in a state of activation and vulnerability for some period after the film is over. And in some cases, the activation and vigilance and vulnerability stay with you a long time. That's the
mm,
point, in fact, of horror. And that's why horror and tragedy, although analogous, in so many ways are radically different in ultimate effect. And I was like, wow. That's like
Yeah,
so many cool things about horror and tragedy.
totally. I never like looked at it that way, but like, wow, how incredible. Like,
This is like all in the intro. I'm not into any of the chapters, and I don't have any more. So everyone, don't worry, I won't just keep reading from it. But this
no, I
was
love
all in
it.
the intro, and I was like,
Okay, I
this
gotta read
is
this.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you revisited any of the movies that she talks about since you've read
No,
it?
I have
Okay.
not. I need to. I have been listening to audiobooks until I
Like
fall asleep, which is
fair.
dangerous because
Totally fair.
you don't know where you actually fell asleep. But I need to. I need to rewatch that. I need to watch Detour.
Hmm.
I've got stuff to watch, basically.
It sounds incredible. I
Yeah.
love theory like this. Like it makes me think of two
Hmm.
books that I really like that I think we've talked about on the this before. Monsters by Claire Dederer,
I
where she
need to
basically
listen
kind
to
of
it.
takes the and she like Polanski is one of her starting
Yeah.
places. Woody Allen and like, well, how do you take what do you do with like the good art of bad people, mostly
Hmm.
bad men, but not just bad men. But she basically talks about like the thing for a man that's like the worst thing is like rape or murder or like, and then for women it's like being a bad mother. And she's like,
Yeah.
like she cites certain examples of people that are like held up as like the art monsters for women. And it's, not that women aren't also capable of very dark things, but like it tends to be like, she was a bad
Less
mother. She
severe.
abandoned her child, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, that's dad wasn't there at all, but we don't care.
great. I know.
Yeah, I need to listen to that one still. And then there's
I think you'd
another
love it.
one. Bloomhouse just put out a book
Oh,
about horror over the last 15 years. So, like now that
wow.
one, Horror's New Wave, 15 years of Bloomhouse.
Mm.
So I want to listen to that one too. I have so many nonfiction to listen to.
Did you watch or read or listen to any like spectacular spooky content in October?
Okay, so in October, yes, yeah, that was October. I don't think it's out yet, but it's called I'll Make a Spectacle of You by
Oh, good.
Beatrice Winifred Eicher.
Okay.
So okay, November 18th is when this one comes out, but I got to listen to it through NetGalley.
Mm.
Um, it is really, 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 really good. I will say, and it was like so hard to say this honestly in my review because I've now narrated an audiobook. The narrator is a little bit nasal and
Ah.
sometimes feels like she's yelling at you. It's a little bit the truth. So listen to the sample. I am not necessarily saying the audiobook was the best version.
I get it.
However, the story was so fantastic and I couldn't buy the text because
Yeah,
it
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
exist yet. That I was still just like I was like it's okay. Like thankfully I've listened to enough audiobooks that I could handle it a little bit better. The story was so good that I was still listening. So that's how good the story is, but it's about a woman who like she's in her late 20s. She's in grad school for history. She's basically a historian. Zora is her name, and she is like in her dream program, the Appalachian Studies at Brixbury University, which is like a fictional HBCU
Mhm.
basically. And there are strange things happening in the woods outside her where her grad school is. And
Ooh.
basically, she starts having visions of things that were happening in the 1920s and 30s, I think. And then there's like also this diary of a woman from that time period that she's working through for like her thesis. So you
Mhm.
get like some historical fiction, but it's only like 15 or 20%.
Yeah, yeah.
And then it picks up as it goes on because like the timelines start to converge. But basically it's very witchy. There's like
Mhm.
folklore. There's all kinds of spooky vibes that are really, really good. So November
That sounds
18th,
incredible.
it
Okay.
was so good. And then I started following the author and she shared a whole post about how it was like Sinners. And sometimes I don't want to be like a white person just saying every good black horror is about sinners, but then I was kind of happy when she shared it because then I
You're
just shared
like,
it into my
yeah,
stories.
yeah,
But yeah,
totally. You're
if
like,
you saw Sinners, it's very Annie vibes. Like Hoodoo
okay,
is how she's like connected to her
love it,
ancestors.
love
So
it.
it is really, really good. I loved
Okay.
it. Did you read anything horror-y?
I did, and I also have like a couple movies that I watched that were
Nice.
really good. The one that I read that was horror-y, it's been out for a minute, but Play Nice by Rachel Harrison.
Yes,
I
it's
loved that book.
right behind my shoulder.
Nice. I just love her, I feel like she's such a good writer. I know I'm always going to have a good time, and she's
Mhm.
like maybe the level of like reading horror that I really like, which is to say like I'm not going to have nightmares, you know?
Yes. Pink horror is what I
Yes.
saw her post about too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that was great. And then I had a scary movie marathon with
Ooh.
another writer, Stephanie Roble, who wrote
Mm.
Darling Rose Gold and The Hitchcock Hotel.
That is okay. I've been wanting to listen to the
Oh, it's
Hitchcock
good.
Hotel.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yes, I need
Um,
to.
and so I'm part of this group of LA writers, and I get together and like go to dinner once a month and hang out.
Yes.
And the other two writers in our group were like, we will not be engaging in the scary movie marathon. So we sat and we watched five,
Oh
which was
wow.
maybe it was great. I had a great time. But like
Yeah.
the standouts for me were we watched this movie. This was the one that I went to bat for called The Vanishing, which I would say is really more
Okay.
horror than thriller, although it has a truly horrifying ending.
Yeah.
But it's about this like man and woman. They're Belgian. It's in the 80s, and they're like going on a road trip to France to like this home that she has, and they stop at a gas station. She goes missing. And like
Okay.
something that really struck me, which like of course is true and you see it in other things, but like 1980, I think it's was filmed in 88, which is when I was born, so it doesn't feel like that long ago, but like nobody has cell phones, there's no
Right.
internet. Like you're truly like part of the horror of it was like yeah, how would you find this person?
Isolation is very
Yeah,
different.
like you're
Yeah.
truly like this person's gone and I'll just never see them again and I'll never know why. And
Right.
like it was a good one.
Ooh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need to add that one to my
Yes.
IMDb watch list as well.
And then another standout we watched was called Host, and it
Host.
was a pandemic film, and I think it's British.
Hmm.
And it's like a group of so it's both I think was filmed during the pandemic, but also is set in the pandemic, and it's like an indie film. It's like a group of friends who get together for like a Zoom chat on a Friday night, but
Mm.
they do a seance over Zoom,
Mm.
and then they unlock something that like comes to all of them, but you're seeing it all through like Zoom boxes on the
Ooh.
screen. It's really
That's
good.
like, have we talked about the movie Searching? That's like all through a computer screen.
Oh, I think you've told me about this, but tell me again.
Well, the gist of it is like it's in present time, but like a single dad's daughter goes missing and it's told all through him like looking through her computer, his computer,
Oh, snap.
photos, like they paid for I think even the Apple UI. Like you feel like you're like
In it.
watching what someone's doing on a MacBook basically.
Wow, wow, wow,
And then it
wow.
was such a creative way to like then like when he had somewhere to go, he's on
Yeah,
his phone and so you're seeing it through that.
totally.
So that production style's always I love that production style. So now I need to watch
Yeah.
Host.
Yeah, you should definitely watch Host. It's also really short. I think it's also like only an hour
That's
long. 'Cause it's
nice
kind
and
of a thing
dense.
where it's like you don't want the gimmick to outlast, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, and so they kind of get in, get out. It was good. It was scary. I screamed
Oh, it's that
watching
kind
it.
of scary.
I
Ooh.
mean, it's not scarier than Oddity, which I know we both watched and loved
I was just
last.
thinking about Oddity
It's so
because
good.
in my book club a couple weeks ago, we were talking, or one of the book club members, had just watched Oddity, and we
Oh,
were
amazing.
talking about the scene that's like the scariest scene, and everyone who's seen it knows what we're talking about. It's so scary.
It's there's I actually feel like I don't know what you're talking about because I remember several scenes
Okay,
that I
that's a
found
good point too.
very scary. The tent.
Yes, the
Yeah,
tent. That
yeah,
was
yeah,
the
yeah,
way
yeah,
that I
yeah.
brought it up to her too. I was like,
Yep.
the tent scene. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, that is tense. Oh
And I even rewatched it because I interviewed the director.
yeah,
And
that's
so I
right.
rewatched it once it was on streaming and I knew what was going to happen. And it was still terrifying.
Still so scary. And it's like such a smart, like the opening
Hmm.
premise of that guy coming and being like, you have to get out of the house. And at first you're like, fuck no, like don't even been talking to this guy. And then when
Yes.
the way it
The
flips,
flip.
like starts to like change, and you're just like, oh God, I don't know what to believe now. It was so
Yes.
good.
Yes. So there's another, that's a horror movie. If anyone is still, I'm assuming some people still feel like watching horror in
Yeah.
November.
I think there's people who do it year round. Call
That
them
is
sickies.
me. I am
You're like,
just like
hey.
so not a seasonal reader.
Totally.
Like I'm just not. Like it's whatever story I'm in the mood for.
I hear you.
And I like a colder setting. But I
Yeah.
mean, on the flip side, I got so obsessed with S.A. Cosby this year, and it's
Yeah.
like all in the humid South.
Totally. Totally. Very
So
different
I'm make it or
vibe.
break it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, we have so many good horror and noir recommendations.
I know, we really do. What are you consuming and enjoying right now?
I actually like am like second chapter into I Was a Teenage Slasher by Stephen Graham
Oh,
Jones.
yeah, yeah. How is that?
It is, I mean, I'm listening to it and the narrator is like he really is bringing a vibe to it that I think you wouldn't get if you were just reading it.
Yeah.
Kind of like the nonchalant but scared angst of being a
Hmm.
teenager. He's 17 years old, like the main character. Um, so basically what I'm saying is the two chapters I've listened to have really established a very strong voice.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I like that the synopsis doesn't say much.
Hmm.
And I've heard that like it's just so unlike what you think it's gonna be. So I have
Hmm.
no clue
That's
what
fun.
to tell. I literally like started it this morning. So
I kind of love
yeah,
that.
yeah. Are you reading anything now?
Yeah, I'm reading a couple of things. One thing I just finished was a collection of short stories by
Oh
Patricia
yeah.
Highsmith.
Mm-hmm.
She of Mr. Talented Mr. Ripley and all the others, which also actually they showed the 1996
Oh
or
yeah.
1998 Matt Damon version of
Mm-hmm.
Talented Mr. Ripley. And I hadn't seen that movie at NoirCon. I hadn't seen that movie in years.
Yeah.
It's so good. If you
Yeah.
haven't watched it lately,
I haven't.
it's worth a rewatch. It's so good. I mean, it's like young Jude Law, young Gwyneth
I
Paltrow. Like
know.
people have never been so beautiful, like in Italy, and
I
like
know.
it was crazy. And then we had like a little I can't stop talking about NorCon, I guess. Sorry. We had like a little
No, it's good.
afterwards with Megan Abbott, my queen, uh,
Yeah.
and one of the producers of the film, who actually like told us this really interesting tidbit. And I mentioned it because it's interesting for writing, which is
Mm-hmm.
that like the first half of the movie is so like we're in beautiful Italy and we're like having this like hedonistic time and like I'm in love with Jude Law, but he's in love with Gwyneth Paltrow and blah blah blah. And then you get to the midpoint twist, which is a murder.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, when we first showed it to test audiences, they hated it. And it was because they hadn't signposted that darkness was coming. So
Oh,
a framing device that's in the movie now where it kind of like starts with an short voiceover by Matt Damon basically talking about like I didn't know how bad things were going to get, yada
oh,
yada yada. So you kind of
yeah.
signpost that something bad is happening, and then that lets you like get darker later, which I think is an
Yes.
interesting like craft trick to think
That is
about,
so fascinating.
because he was basically like people would come out of it and be like, fuck you, what movie was this? Like we're in
Yes.
Italy having the best time of our lives and now suddenly people are dead. Like I don't know what to do here.
That makes sense, which
Yeah.
is fascinating because again, you think about like The Affair was one of the
Yeah.
first TV shows where I experienced the you like front load
Totally.
tragedy in that case really mysterious unsolved tragedy and then
Yeah.
jump back. And so you're like, oh, this isn't a pretty Montauk vacation show.
Totally, totally.
That's
Then and
fascinating.
I do think like that is something like for anybody interested in creating any kind of art to think about is like what expectations are you setting up and when,
Yeah.
and like how can you play with those, but then also when do you need to be like, hey, audiences, we're gonna get murdery. So if you think this is a rom-com in Italy, you are wrong.
This is not what's gonna happen.
Right.
But it is fascinating to because then you get into like you do need to establish vibes, but
Mhm.
I've been talking a little bit more lately about how like sometimes you don't I don't want to know like a lengthy synopsis.
Totally.
And so then the vibes end up mattering, but where was I going with that? Was there one that was deceptive here recently? It has disappeared from my mind. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know. It was something about vibes. But then my next point was that I didn't want to forget was with the talented Mr. Ripley. That is one that like I don't want you to tell me that it's a comp.
Yeah.
So that's like I don't know why that was sticking out to me. I think I was thinking about it. No, I saw it in a book synopsis recently and I'm like, I don't want to know that because I was so glad that I didn't hear it. If you haven't seen Saltburn by now, I mean, we're
Right.
so far out, but I was so happy that I didn't see that
Yeah.
comparison until like a week after I saw it because I was like,
Yeah,
you don't
because
want
it
to
spoils things.
know.
Yeah, totally.
It
It's a big
knows.
spoiler. It's like when you read the back of a book and it's like you won't believe the twist and you're like, so now all I'm doing is thinking about what the twist for
Yes.
this could be. And it's the same with Ripley, I think. And also like
Gone
I
Girl.
think I think yes, totally. I think Highsmith is a little overcomped in general, even though
Yeah.
she's a pillar of the crime writing
Right.
community. Like I understand it, but like I feel like it's sort of a shorthand to signify like highbrow
Yes.
literary throwback to, and it's like, okay, we get
Yeah.
it.
I know. It's so hard to sometimes even when I'm writing reviews where I'm like, you need to know this, but it's better
Yeah,
if you don't know it. Like there are a couple
totally.
books where I'm like, sometimes I'll say that in my posts though, where I'll be like, if hearing a really specific comp might make you want to read it, I can tell you more specific comps, but
Totally.
because some people do like it, but then like I'm thinking of one specifically that I'm now talking around. That's why I sound weird, but th- yeah, like one of my favorite books ever. I can't actually really talk about what's happening
Totally.
to convince someone to read it because it's better to not know.
Totally. When was the last time you went into something like truly blind? Like, I didn't look up anything about what this is, and I'm just like here doing it. Because I feel like that's a unique experience too.
In some ways, the one I just listened to was like that, that I'll
Uh-huh.
make a spectacle of you
Mhm.
because I just kind of skimmed the like, like the bolded copy that's sometimes just up top on NetGalley. So like I hadn't seen anyone post about it. I didn't like read the synopsis very much. And so I was even kind of learning like, oh, she is connected to her ancestors in the 1920s and 30s. So like some of the layers I didn't know
Yeah, totally.
that I've now
Totally.
told everyone. But that was probably the last one. Do you ever go completely blind into a book?
Sometimes
Yeah.
am trying to think of, I don't know that I've done it with a book lately. I mean, I feel like I would do it with something like Rachel Harrison, somebody where it's like, I know I'm gonna
Mhm.
have a good time. So like whatever you're gonna throw in front of me, like I don't need
Yeah.
to go into it. And like sometimes that can be nice. I think I did that with a couple of the movies I watched with Stephanie when we did our like I
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
look them up beforehand. So I was just like, I'm just sitting here ready for whatever's gonna happen to me.
Yeah. That makes sense
Yeah.
with movies, especially that's where I probably have I told you that actually Tron was like pretty fucking decent.
I did not know this. No, okay.
Yeah, around my birthday, we were like, I was like, can we just try to go to movies? So we saw a two or three back then. But Tron, I had seen got decent reviews, like was actually kind of, again, sometimes I will save my favorite like film content
Mhm.
makers to watch it after I've seen it. but I'd seen enough people saying like it's pretty good, and I was like, well, let's go see it, especially in theaters. It's like one of those
Yeah.
like visual ones that like it's gonna be better in theater. But it had some like really smart parallels to Frankenstein, which was fascinating since that
Oh,
was about to come out. And it
yeah.
has like these book references hidden throughout it.
Interesting.
But that was one that I went into kind of blind, and I remember like sitting there and being like, this is a lot better than I expected. Like if it was a 6, that would have been okay with me. And it was like closer to an 8.
Okay. I kind
Yeah.
of love that. And I
Mhm.
feel like I think sometimes it can be good to not have expectations and like so
Yeah.
you go in not knowing anything and you're like, we'll see, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
And then I had the moral quandary because Jared Leto, also not a great man as far
yeah.
as the way that we're as far as we're finding out. I'm like,
Yeah.
damn it.
I know. I know.
We were like 20 minutes in and I was like, I literally like turned to Tyler, I was like, I think he had his candle. And I
Yeah.
Googled it and it was like July of this year. And I was like, yeah, I was right. That was okay, cool.
And
Cool.
I think he's somebody that there's also been other like rumblings about. Like, because I
Yes.
recall like him playing the Joker, he did some like really weird stuff where he was
Hmm.
like, it's what the Joker would do, like being method, but you're sort of like, yeah, but you're like a human man on a set with other people who are just here doing their job.
I
Like,
know. I
could you
know.
not be a jerk?
Yeah, I know. And it is crazy how he looks like white baby girl Jesus, though. I couldn't escape it. I typed it out. I'm like, I can't get, I'm like, I'm loving this storyline, but also there's like just like his hair,
Yes.
his long
Yes.
hair blowing.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
okay. White
Yeah.
baby girl Jesus.
It's hard to enjoy media sometimes lately.
I know. Excuse me.
That's okay.
It I know. Never like okay, I'm gonna just get into it. Are you listening to the new Lily Allen
Oh,
album?
yes. Okay, so I have not listened long form, but I have definitely had snippets and I've read up on it.
Yeah. So I
Please
mean
tell
that's
me
the
your thoughts.
so my thoughts is you got to listen to the whole album all the way through because it is
Okay.
like a movie. Like she
Yeah,
like takes
that's what I've
us
heard.
through it and like granted it's her perception of what happened and I think she has come out and said it's not all like there's truth and fiction mixed in there but she paints a pretty clear portrait of it but
Mhm.
that is also the case of somebody who like a lot of my I have one like group chat lighting up where they're like so don't trust any man huh like we
I
like David
know.
Harbour
I
from
thought
Stranger
you were
Things
saying,
is now like a piece of shit got
I
it
know. That's what I was thinking because I was like, I thought the general perception of him was very positive.
It was, and now not so much. And then they're like come out the thing about Millie Bobby Brown allegedly like filed a suit against him for like bullying on set. Like, and it's like this man is not having a good week.
I know. I saw that headline last night, I think, too, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh no.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I've read some of the very specific lines that she did write, which it's so fascinating when anyone, I mean, obviously the society sees it even differently with women who do it, but anytime anyone is like, this is my art, some of it's true and some of it's not,
Yeah.
it's also such messy territory because it's
Totally.
making us think a certain way about a certain thing and we have no way of knowing
100%.
which part
100%.
is real. It's so like pop culture fascinating.
It really is. You're very right. Like, I mean, this man's reputation
Because
is now in the mud.
and Taylor does it a lot, and she did it
Yeah.
with Tortured Poets, where it was like it's truth and fiction,
Uh,
and it's like it is like I don't even know if there's a
sure.
place to stand in judgment of anyone doing it or consuming it, but we don't know. It means we don't know.
It means we don't know. It means we don't know, despite the fact that like I feel like a lot of the discourse I'm seeing online about it is like Taylor Swift is sort of like, she's writing these very like references that people are Easter egging onto, and oh, we talk about a typewriter, and we know so and so uses a typewriter, so it's probably him, blah, blah, blah. Lily Allen
Yes.
is like, on January 3rd, he fucked
That's
this woman in
yes.
our house, and you're just like,
She's like, and there was a bag with sex toys that was tied off. Like it's
like,
so
here's exactly how I was done dirty and in which manners. And like, everybody is just like,
I know.
Okay.
Yes, this is like X-rated.
Totally.
It's not PG-13.
It is not. And it's like, oh my God, incredible. And I would say, sorry to Taylor Swift.
Just okay.
Tortured Poets Department had a few songs I like on it. And to be fair, I'm not a full Taylor Swift stan, so I haven't listened to the album with the same thing.
Well,
But
and it
like,
has like 30 songs, so
right, the general consensus, I feel like critically and even from fans, is like it's a little overlong, it's a little bloated. Lily Allen gets in, she gets out, and every single song
it's
on that album
done.
is a banger. Every
Oh my
single
gosh. Okay,
song.
I've got
It's
to listen all the way through.
it's so good.
This is a put the noise canceling ones
Yes.
on and like check in.
Yeah, totally. And it's upsetting in the best way, that like the best earworm out of it is the song that you've probably seen on the social media, which is Pussy Palace, which is like,
Hmm.
no, it's a Pussy Palace. I have had the song in my head nonstop for like a week now, and like I find myself humming it in meetings. Like
Oh,
I'll
that's
get a
funny.
meeting and then be like, you can't sing it.
Uh,
You can't sing it. You can't say
that's
that.
so specific that you just said that because I was just talking to Gare before this and
Mhm.
I was like, "Are you a Doechii fan too?" I was like, because like all of her concert footage on TikTok is just iconic right now. And
Yes.
then I told him, I was like, I just keep saying parts of Nissan Altima out loud. And I'm like, why am I just saying like four lines of this song right now?
Totally. You're just
But
wandering around
it's like
saying it.
so
People are like,
good.
wow, she's really a car fan.
Yes, yes. Yeah, she's amazing too. But yeah, I need
Yeah.
to listen to this whole album
And I
now.
need to listen to more of Doechii, but like,
Oh,
yeah,
I
Lily
love
Allen,
Doechii.
it's like a play.
Yeah, yeah. Are there visuals? Is it like YouTube visuals like
I
a
think
play
just
or just like the lyricism is like a
the
play?
lyricism of
Okay.
it, really. Like you start,
Didn't know
it's
if it
like
was like Lemonade.
no, no, I think she's doing a visualizer album for it, but she didn't do it like Lemonade, like didn't do that sort of thing. I mean,
Okay.
she really is just sort of like we set the scene. She's like, "Oh, we're at this like high point in our marriage and I get called for a play." And then he starts to have a weird reaction to it, and then it immediately like the thing that she does in a couple of different songs is like at the end of the first song there's like only half of a FaceTime that you're hearing, and it's her half of the FaceTime, and you know that something devastating has happened in their relationship, but you don't know what it is.
Oh,
And then you find out what it is. And then she gets to a song where she's like she's reading out one of his mistress's texts back to her. And
yeah.
like it is just, she really is.
She
I
put it
mean,
out there.
yeah, there's exhibit A, exhibit B, like it's a full workup.
It's so impressive when people,
Yeah,
I mean, it's something. I, it always reminds me that like I love revengey anything like this. Like I love experiencing it.
totally. I think
And
we all do.
but me, I would never let someone know they mattered that much to me.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Mine would be like, I'm done and no one's ever gonna even know. But I love experiencing it through women who are just like, here. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, good for you.
It's so interesting because it's like to your point a little bit too. Like I saw this one TikTok comment that really made me laugh, where it was like Lily Allen's new album is getting me through my divorce, and I've never even been married. But like,
I love
um,
that.
which I think is like a common experience. I feel like it's like resonating for people, where it's like
Mhm.
even if you can't identify with this particular experience, there's some way in which the sort of revenge of it all, we're all just like, yes, I
Yes. Yeah, the
too would like
vibes.
revenge upon my many enemies.
Yes. Again, I'm conflicted on Taylor Swift lately, but
Sure.
there I remember seeing a TikTok comment when I was like learning all of the lore that was like uh any of her breakup albums can be about your parents if they were bad enough. And truly some of the songs that
Yeah.
connect with me the most
You're
are
like,
ones
ah,
where I'm like, I felt that way, but just not about a breakup.
totally, totally.
Yeah.
Which I think is the power of like good songwriting, is you can connect
Mhm.
to it even if you haven't had that personal experience. Okay,
Yes.
but like speaking of like revenge power moves, did you also see way too online these days?
I am too.
Travis Kelsey's ex, so it's
Oh,
Chris,
Kayla Nicole.
yeah, her
Amazing.
Halloween costume.
Hmm. Hmm. Did he ain't man and
Incredible.
he wasn't man enough for me.
Right.
And the
Just like,
outfit looks
no.
like the showgirl outfit too somehow.
Yeah, and she looks incredible.
Oh,
I
she
was
looked
like,
incredible. And
okay.
so then are you seeing the TikToks of everyone like Travis in the bathroom and it's just the song playing over and over and over and over
No,
again?
that's really funny. I need to
I saw
find
that a
them.
couple of days ago and I was like, it's funny. It's
It,
like why did she need to mention her?
yeah,
I didn't realize that she did because I haven't spent time with this album.
yeah,
And then I
yeah.
learned through the clapback and I was like, oh,
Yeah, she has like at least one throwaway line in there where she's like,
oh
basically is
yeah.
like, you were in it for real and she was just on her phone, like for the
Hmm.
likes type stuff. And I did find it kind of immaculate that Kayla Nicole clapped back in like the exact way that Taylor Swift would have with these sort of like Easter eggs. Let me recreate this iconic thing. I'm going to give a response without giving a response, you know?
Using
Like,
Halloween like a
yes,
chef's kiss,
I
like
know, well done.
just all of the yes, because in my since we're talking about it, my stance with it, I had a couple people ask, is like write about your exes all you want.
Sure.
Right? Don't write about someone else's experience that you didn't have the experience. Like,
I agree. And I think there's like,
especially when you are this big, because
yes,
with great power does come great responsibility.
I totally agree. And like, I'm not trying to get the Swifties mad at me.
I'm
And
not
I think
either.
that there's much wonderful talent to Taylor Swift, but
Mhm.
she also seems to really like to be in an underdog position. And like, there is nowhere for her to punch up at this point except for like maybe the president. You know what I mean? So, like,
I know. I was so
almost
hoping Canceled was going to be about his tweet. I was like,
right.
can we at least have this song be a. No, it was not.
Totally. And so it's like when she takes swipes at people, even like Kim and Kanye of it all, still again, I'm sort of like, but you're more famous. Like, you are more
You
famous.
won.
Yeah.
I
Like,
know. That's the
it might
hard
be
part.
time to let it go, you
I
know?
know. I know. That was what
Yeah.
this album started to make me feel. I do
Yeah.
love Father Figure. I can't help it. It's one of, I mean, we were just talking about plenty of men's films that we also like the men. So
Sure.
Father Figure, just the it's because it's a storytelling one. That's the other part.
Totally.
And it flips at the end. That's what I love when she
Yeah.
does that. But I had not really listened to any of the others. And then I was like, why? And I can't get on board with Canceled. I don't like
I don't know that I've
I don't
listened to
like
it
it.
enough. It wasn't my favorite. And you know what I
It's like
don't?
all about good thing I like my friends canceled.
Which, like, okay, is that about Blake Lively or is that like, but I also think Taylor Swift does not actually understand what the word canceled means. I think she
That
thinks
might
it
be
means bad
true
press.
too.
And it's like, that's not what canceled is. Canceled is more than like a little bad press. It
I
is
know. And
a
mine
thing.
was like it was just making me like the people I was thinking about, I'm like, I don't if it's about Blake and if it I do not like Brittany Mahomes or her brother. And I listened to it once and I couldn't go back to it because I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
I don't want that to be true.
I know. I know. I know. Uh, I also don't need, I don't need to hear her sing about
Oh
Travis.
yeah, we did
Like,
cover that too, actually. We've
yeah.
kind of been haters from the beginning.
Like, come on. I like,
She's not
she's not
Sabrina
the Sabrina
Carpenter.
Carpenter, who's like
Mhm.
so nimble and funny
I
around
know.
sexual lyrics, and it's giving. This might have been even what we said, but it's like giving
It
an aunt
is.
who's like, "I fuck," and we're like, "We don't want that from you." You know, like, I'm
Like,
happy for you, girl. Go get railed, but like, I actually don't need to hear about it from you. Thank you.
I know. I know. He's also not. I think the other thing that happens is if he's not attractive to you,
Yeah.
it's even worse. You don't want to know that it's about him.
And or my feeling is, okay, I don't know enough about the Travis Kelsey Taylor Swift lore. I kind of have stayed out of it. I What I like
I
about
may or
him
may
is that
not.
he seems genuinely not threatened by her success. I think that is beautiful
That's
and
what I
hard,
agree with.
and that's great.
Hmm.
What the fuck do they talk about? So I assumed he was railing her a lot because I'm like, I don't
Because
think y'all are
what
just
else
sitting
is
having
it?
conversations. Like,
I
I
know.
assumed this was like a sex forward, like,
I know.
connection.
Like, why isn't anyone surprised?
Right. Like, yeah, man, that's what I thought was happening. Like,
You would almost, now that you're even saying it, well, and I agree with all of it. It's not like I hadn't had that thought, but I'm like, is this that traditional, like, I have gotten burned so many times that I'm just
Yeah.
swinging right to the, like, everyone calls him orange cat behavior, or golden
Yeah.
retriever. Like, is it like, oh, he's really safe and Midwestern and family comes from a good family?
Yeah, probably. I mean,
I
to some
don't know.
degree.
I don't know. It
I don't
is a
know.
strange, I've been confused by it the whole time.
I think we all have, you know, and like, yeah, yeah,
I don't get it. But I said, it's so funny. I literally said that same thing. Um, about her announcing it on his podcast where like I was like at first I was like oh. And I was like but then I did like put it on a couple of days like after it happened or whatever while I was working and I kind of had to like unroll my eyes because the way that they both hyped her up I was like very aware of the fact that like 10 years ago no football bros would have hyped Britney
totally,
Spears up that way
totally.
even if it's like slightly performative, I mean, it's what you're doing
Right.
on a podcast,
Yeah,
that still wasn't going to happen culturally. So at least I had that same experience that you led with, where I was sitting there and I was like, he is not threatened by it. He actually thinks it's a good thing, and they actually are like, look at you, like this is
totally.
awesome. And I was like, that's at least nice, I guess. But
I
he's
agree.
not
I
my
think that is a
favorite.
great quality. We love to see it in him. We love
Yes,
to see it modeled for men, like especially
right.
from like such a traditionally masculine corner of like, the populace. Um,
Yes.
and also I'm like, yeah, I don't think they're like having great debates about like literature and philosophy and like
I don't think so.
nah.
It's yeah, I don't think so. Which
Which is fine. That may
that's
not
what I
be
was
their
gonna
place.
say. I'm also not trying to be anti or elect intellectual elitists or anything.
No.
Just an observation.
Just an observation. Just an
Yeah.
observation that you didn't really need to write the song about like him railing you. We all kind of assumed that was what was up.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't need direct
We
references.
don't I'm good. You keep your wood over there.
I I have not re-listened to it a single time.
Same. I'm fine.
Well, um horror noir are safer than the fate of Ophelia right now is what we're
Yes.
saying.
Yes.